Hello and welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast, where we go behind the scenes to uncover the latest tactics and strategies top trainers around the world are using to get more clients, dominate their marketplace, and get their clients amazing results. There is absolutely no fluff here. I'm your host, Lynn Trin. Welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast. My name is Lynn. I'm going to be your host from now and then forever, where I'm going to literally share with you the latest strategies top fitness professionals and myself from around the world are using to help you get more clients online, make more sales, and ultimately get your clients results. Now, why did I put this podcast together? What is this podcast going to be all about? One of the biggest reasons of why this podcast came together was it was a continuation of the Online Trainer Summit, which I ran in August 2016. I brought together 44 interviews from around the world, talking about Facebook marketing, talking about phone sales, webinars, sales funnels, email marketing, and then ultimately fulfillment, using coaching tips, using the technology, using software to get your clients results. And what I noticed was that I left almost 10,000 personal trainers wanting more because we delivered such great value. And that led to this formation of this new podcast, which I'm more than happy to do. I've always wanted to run a podcast. So this has given me the kick in the butt to get my butt moving, to get some great information out to you. Now, what can you expect from this podcast? You can expect no fluff, okay? I'm not here to try to sell you anything. I'm really here to help you get the latest strategies, because you know what? If you're tuning in, you're a fitness entrepreneur. You're not a fitness trainer. A fitness trainer wouldn't tune in to a radio show or podcast show trying to learn more about sales and marketing. You're a fitness entrepreneur. You're here because you want more. You're here because you want to grow your business, okay? You want to grow and build a legacy. You want more freedom. You want more fun. You want more financial abundance. And that's why you're here. And that's what I'm going to deliver for you, okay? So how this is going to go is, I don't know the format of it at this very moment in time, but you can expect 2 podcast episodes a week where I'm literally, number one, I might do something like a solo talk, where I'm really going through my experience of helping other people create their online business, and I'm doing my own. So you get the insights to what we're doing that might be working now. And that's the thing. One of the biggest things that I want to drill into you is that if you're listening to these episodes, you have to take action now, because if you're in the online space, you'll understand that the online fitness marketing space is one of the most competitive marketing spaces in the world, apart from the money-making space, right? It's probably the up there with being highly competitive, highly scammed spaces on the internet, which means if you don't take action quickly, if you take action quickly, you're going to reap the rewards. If you don't take action quickly, you're going to fall behind, okay? So marketing and innovation is one of those things that you need to build your online personal training business. And that's what we're going to be talking about more. But before we even get to that, I really wanted to lay down the foundations. What the foundations are simply, at this moment in time, after the Online Trainer Summit, I had a lot of trainers come up to me, and their number one problem was, Lynn, how do I get more leads? Lynn, how do I get more clients? And look, I really painted this picture for them because I like to think a little bit in advance. I like to look where I'm going as opposed to looking at my feet while I'm walking there, okay? Where most trainers are looking for that next client. Most trainers are looking for that next couple of leads. And if you're in that position at this moment in time, let me ask you a question. And the question I generally ask is this: if tomorrow I could magically get 100 new clients for you to sign up to your program and work with you online, how would that make you feel? Okay? That is the question I generally ask, and that's the first question. And most trainers would say initially, Lynn, that feels fantastic. Give me that. Oh, can we do that? That'd be great. I'm going to make more money than ever. And then I ask them, fantastic. Tell me about what your work life would be. Tell me about your stress. Tell me about where you'd be all the time. How long could you last? And so one of the things that most trainers are currently doing wrong is that their business model is wrong, okay? And because you're here, because you're not a personal trainer, you're a fitness entrepreneur looking to build a business, you need to start thinking about it as a business. And if you are your business, if you are delivering that product and service, you can't scale, okay? Now, if you want to work for the rest of your life and not be able to take a holiday, not be able to go to a Tony Robbins event like I did over the weekend, okay, without stressing out, without your clients asking where the hell you were, then by all means, that's fantastic for you. Please keep doing that. But I know because you're listening to this show, you want more. Because you're listening to this show, you're aspiring for more fun, freedom, and fulfillment, okay? Which is what we're going to get you. So if I help you get 100 new leads tomorrow, what's going to happen is that you're going to be burnt out. You're going to be stressed. You've got 100 new customer templates, custom diets, custom training programs to write. You've got 100 new emails you have to send out to tell them, and then you have to join the Facebook group and then whatnot. But the process is very high, intense labor. That's what we want to avoid, because if you are your bottleneck, how can we scale you? How can we get you to 200? And ultimately, you want to hit that 6-figure mark a year, which that seems to be the iconic number for most personal trainers. That's the standard industry, I suppose. Then you're going to need to work smarter, not harder, okay? You need to come from a business mindset, which is why I wanted to do this first episode before we start getting into the strategies, is to make sure that you're set up. And I really wanted to teach this podcast as a course, a step-by-step course that every week, if you're listening to this show, you're implementing, you're going to see results. Okay, I wanted to make it different because there's a lot of podcasts out there that generally tell you the overview, but they don't give you the nitty-gritty what to do. So part of this podcast, every time we do one, I'm going to leave you with a few actionable steps that you need to take in your business, and the key word there is business, to grow it, okay? Now, the first thing is, if you had trouble answering that question I asked before, hey, if I could get you 100 leads tomorrow, 100 new clients, what would you do? And you thought, okay, great, that would make me about $5,000 a week because I charge $50 a week, but I'd be working 100 hours a week, I'd never be off my phone. Then we have a problem, right? And the problem is, how can I get more people into your program, and how can you enjoy your time, free time? And that's the whole thing of a business, right? You're in here to make money so you can go out there and have more free time, more freedom, and obviously live a fulfilled life. You want to do anything, anywhere you want, okay? Now, whatever you want to do, that's completely up to you. But the whole point of having a business is to impact more people, but also fund your freedom. Okay, and that's one of the most important aspects. So if you had trouble answering that question, you really need to have a look at this. You need to have a look at your business as 3 things in particular, okay? 3 vital pillars, as I like to call them, right? And I'll go into my story and you'll learn about it a little bit later on. But I really want you to separate these 3 pillars into marketing. I want you to separate a pillar into sales, and I want you to make another pillar of fulfillment. Okay, fulfillment meaning what is the product or service that you're offering to get your clients results. Okay, if you can separate it into those 3 pillars, we can then think about generating systems, automated systems. We can use the internet to help us, to give us a nice helping hand. And that's the amazing thing about having online internet now, is that, you know, things can be a little bit more automated. It doesn't mean that you don't do it. It means that you do it, but you get to amplify it by using online systems to help you with the process. Instead of you having 100 workers, you can now use the internet and some of the softwares and tools to carry the load of 100 workers, okay? The big thing here is not to neglect these systems, is to know exactly what's going on, but also help get an automated system so it can take the majority of the grunt work out there for you, okay? So this is the key, the number 1 step I'm going to give you at this moment in time. If you're a trainer starting out from scratch, if you have no clients, okay, this is the number 1 key. Go out there and train 3 to 4 people. Go out there and train 3 to 4 people that, you know, you enjoy actually training, that you actually would want to help. Go out there and find your own niche. Okay, that's the first thing. You need to prove yourself. And one of the biggest key encounters that most trainers come across nowadays is that they don't think they're good enough. I tell a lot of trainers, hey, if you want to start off from scratch, you need a niche down. You need a niche down more than Michelle Bridges here in Australia. You need a niche down more than the girl that has 5 million followers. She has expert authority. She's got a lot more followers. If you want to go out there and pick up some clients, you'd really need a niche down. A niche down is just narrowing your market to a specific segment. And the beautiful thing is if you're doing online training, you can do that because you can target, I can go and train men in Europe and I'm in Melbourne, Australia, right? I can go train men in San Diego, in America. And the beauty of this, of niching down, is that once you start to niche down to your specific niche, it's a lot easier to gain traction and momentum. Okay, and then once you've done that niche, feel free to branch out to others. But the first thing that you need to ask yourself is, think about this. Who do you actually like training and why? Now, this is a really good question because if you actually start enjoying training, and we're here, we're fitness entrepreneurs, we're not going out there to get that extra 10 or so clients, that's cool. And you'll be doing that for the money. But I really want you to live a life that you're completely going all in. Okay, you're going all in and you're thinking about building a business that you're going to be doing for the next 30, 50, 100 years. And if you come from a frame of mind that way, you better bloody enjoy that business, right? So the first question I need you to ask yourself today is, who is your ideal client? Who do you actually enjoy training? Who actually, when you do train them, if you're in a gym, that you're not looking at your clock, you're not wondering, wow, why does this 45-minute session feel like 2 days? Time flies and you get along well. Now, there are two things here. Your first general ideal client is yourself about 2 years ago. If I had to go back and I look at my business now and I look, my ideal client was me just 2 years ago. I wanted to get into shape. I was fat. I wanted to lose weight, but I didn't want to do any cardio and I didn't want to give up my lifestyle. That's my ideal client. Can I help my ideal client do that? Get into shape without doing any cardio and eating to his or her lifestyle? Absolutely. Okay, and that becomes my niche. Now, for the majority of personal trainers, and it could work for you, that fits, and I've just hit the nail right on the head. Go ahead with that niche because that's what you're most passionate about. That's what you know, okay? And the second thing is, if you haven't really found your niche, who do you actually enjoy working with? If you enjoy working with that corporate guy, you enjoy working with mums, just because you see the impact of what helping a mum can do to a family, her kids, just that smile on her face, just seeing that you can change a whole life around, then go and work with mums. But you need, if you're starting from scratch, you need to niche down. Okay, that's the number one thing. And why it's said over and over again isn't because people are just repeating stuff. I know a lot of people just tend to repeat stuff online, right? They tend to read a blog and then they tend to regurgitate it. It's repeated this often because it has some substance to it. And I believe this is the downfall of most personal trainer success, okay? When I compare that, because I've been able to interview all these people and I know. So my question is to you, who is your niche at this very moment in time? Who do you want to serve? Who do you actually want to help? Who are you passionate about that in the next 30 years you could see yourself reading up about that topic and chilling out with those your clients that you wanted to help? And if you can build a business on that, fantastic, you are going to strive. If you can't, then it's time to help more people so that you have more data to know who you actually really want to help, okay? Once you know that person, then go and get some results. Go and get results in advance. Go and pick 5 people on your Facebook page, your Instagram page, your email list, or your friends and family that are specific to your niche. Go out and get them results without them paying you. Okay, this is the quickest way to starting a successful business. If you don't have any results now to market, go out there and get some. Okay, and then you use that to what I say, building your fulfillment system. Now, you're not going to go out there and you're going to train these people. You're going to get them into results. Let's say it was me 2 years ago, fat, chubby, wanting to lose weight, wanting to get into shape, wanting to strength train. And I'm really training myself for 12 weeks. But in those 12 weeks, I'm really trying to pull apart the key topics and issues in every single week that I taught to myself. Okay? So in week 1, I might have gone through, okay, it's time to just cut out the sugar. All I want you to do this week is focus on cutting out sugar. Week number 2, we introduce macronutrient calculations, right? Week number 3, we introduce strength training, and I'm just beginning with these 3 basic lifts. Week 4, we might go into a little bit more advanced technical lifts. Week 5 and 6, we start to do some volume training, okay? And then by week 10, we do some German volume training. And if I've been able to do that for myself, I want to be able to create a system that I can replicate, okay? Because this becomes your fulfillment system. No longer are you trading time for money, but you're trying to build out a standardized process for your niche that works, okay? So go and train people, go and see what you did to tweak their results. And a lot of the times, most people, most trainers, especially on the online trainers, will feel hesitant to this because they don't like this one-size-fits-all approach, okay? And yet at the same time, I'm going to be showing you how you can leverage this approach to scale and actually get better results, get better retention, and get better accountability than if you were to do the one-to-one model. And I'll be talking about that on a later podcast episode. But really for now, it's can you build out this system so that if you had 100 clients, they can go through your 12 weeks from week 1 through to week 12 and get results. Okay? And I don't want you to think about the ebooks. I don't want you to think about the membership side. I just want you to ask the question, can I build something out? If I could give my niche client the very best to get them results, what would that look like? What would I have to do? What would they need to know? Because a lot of the times we start to have a look at what everyone else is doing around us. We start to look at what Kayla Itzines is doing with her new bikini body number 112, right? We start to look at other people wondering, should I be doing that? And here's the truth. Here is the absolute truth. If you're modeling other people around you, you're going to fail. because most trainers out there aren't doing very well. In fact, I put a post out, I can't remember, in July in a big group asking who in here is turning over 6 figures or more out of 8,000 trainers. And I got 2 responses, and then I got 2 interviews. So 2 out of 8,000, which means if you're following someone else and what they're doing, you're probably going to be making a miserable income. The first thing you need to ask yourself with fulfillment, and this is what this podcast, it's actionable, right? I really want to get deep. I really want to ask you some hard questions so that hopefully it sparks something in you to help you actually grow your business and not just feel good, not just feel like, oh, that was cool information. I want you to go off and ask yourself some hard questions. And it might not be fun, but if you play along with me and you do it, you're going to see some fantastic results. So the first thing I want you to go and do is ask yourself, okay, no, who do I actually want to train? Because if I was to do this for 30 years, and this is it, if you're going to grow a fitness business, if you're passionate about it, then you're going to do this. And if you're not, if that question was like, I don't want to do this for 30 years, then get out now. And I say that in the most possible loving way, like get out now, because you're going to be in this. You might get to 100,000, you're going to hate it because you're not passionate about it, and we're not going to be able to help you. If you're in it for the money, you're just in it for the money, it's probably not worth you growing this anymore, because it's going to be a hard struggle. But if you're in it because you just want to help people, you want to leave a legacy, you just love intermittent fasting so much, you want to get it out to the world, or if you're a vegan trainer and you're so passionate about that, and you're like, I need to get my message out to the world, I need to help all these people, fantastic, you've got it. Okay? The first question is, who is your niche? Who is your niche? The second question is, what would they need to know in order to get them their ultimate transformation? So just like my guy, what would my guy need to know in my fat self 2 years ago? What would he need to know if he wanted to get into shape without doing cardio and just weight training, eating whatever he wants? What would he need to know? And what you need to do then is you need to put that in a step-by-step system, a step-by-step formula, which kind of unfolds. Now, it doesn't even have to be on a membership site. It doesn't have to be on a website where it goes from week 1 to week 12 and that's drip-fed. It can be like, okay, well, here's your task for week 1 on a PDF. It can be as simple as that on a system that gets sent out to him and he follows that one step at a time. But what does he need to know in order to get results? That's the first thing. Because if you build out a system like this, then if you get 1,000 people coming on, if I get 1,000 of the guys of me 2 years ago coming on to my program, it's easy. I just become, okay, here's step 1. And that I can use my software and tools to automate the process. But if you don't have this foundation in place, you're going to be struggling. Every time you sign a client on, you're going to be wondering, wow, I've got some work to do and I don't want to do work, but now I'm stressed out because my client's messaging me saying, hey, what next? You took my money. I have to do it now. I've got Facebook ads to respond to and oh my God. And you get overwhelmed. And the killer of success, the biggest killer of success is overwhelm. So if you can pre-plan, put in the effort, put in the time to actually figure out, okay, who are you trying to help and what would they need? Everything that they would need in order to succeed. Then you can actually go and create, okay? That's where I want to come from. And here's the thing, I fell into the trap of trying to copy other people. Okay, I fell in the trap of trying to create that $20 ebook. But now if you look on Instagram, their sales are going down and everyone's just going down with it. It's getting cheaper. Everyone's having sales. And so the marketplace knows this. It becomes smarter. It becomes washed out. The message becomes blurred. Sales become harder to make and you make less. But if you niche down and you have this ultimate system that helps your niche, we're going to be talking on the next few episodes. Not quite just yet, but we're going to be talking about how you can bring in more clients, make more sales, and then get them fantastic results. I'm not here on this podcast episode on the Online Trainers podcast to help you make sales and not fulfill. I'm here to actually give you the tools and the steps and the psychology where we're going to interview some mindset experts, because if you're an entrepreneur, you're not a fitness professional anymore. You're not a personal trainer. You're a coach. You're a business owner. You need to have a look at your business that way. And if you are willing to do so, I guarantee you'll succeed. Because here's the thing, it's hard being a personal trainer. It's competitive. Everyone's going online at this very moment in time. But here, if you go and decide today that you're going to step up and say, hold on a second, I need to know about my systems. I need to refine my business model, because what Lynn just said there, if I did have 100 clients, I'd be screwed. And if that clicks to you and you want to refine that, then now's the time to do that, okay? So the first step is find your niche. The second step is, can you build out a system that can transform your niche? What is everything that they need to know? Now, the tool and the method of delivery can be PDF, it can be a spreadsheet, but can you document that into a system, step 1 through to 16, that every single person can follow? And don't stress there, because you're probably thinking, Lynn, what about the customization? We have different clients coming in and they need different needs. That is completely fine. And that's what we'll talk about in terms of the upsell and the downsell. But for now, let's assume that if most people get their habits right, if most people eat better, if most people go into the gym and train 3 times a week with resistance training, are they going to get results? Absolutely. Okay. So there are exceptions if you're working with athletes, if you're working with bodybuilders who need that peak week and that attention, then you can have a system still, but now you just have a system with complete customization and you have a system with standard customization. So you're creating upsells and downsells. But the question is, do you have a system? Because if you don't have this fulfillment system in place, you can't fulfill, you can't scale because you're the bottleneck. If I suddenly take you out, with this system, I can just suddenly take you out and I can get another coach. I can hire another coach and get him to implement the system under your method or your company. And that's when you have a true business. So that's your fulfillment system. It's just really having a look at what would my client need if they were to get amazing results in the next 12, in the next 16 weeks? What would they actually need? Everything that they would need to know, everything that they need to do. How can I document that in a step-by-step system? It might be, here's your week 1 PDF. I want you to do this, follow these habits and do that. Week 2, follow this, do this and do that. Because here's the thing, you are empowering them by sharing your knowledge and your wisdom to your actual client. Okay? Now, once you have that system in place, the whole game changes, because then I'm able to say, right, we've got this system and we're going to develop, let's say you want to develop it on a membership side and you have 16 weeks worth of content that's drip fed out week by week. You can then add in a Facebook group and you can use all sorts of little cool tools like Voxer, Snapchat to keep them accountable. Okay, and then we also use Zoom, where we catch up every fortnight and do a 4-on-1 accountability roundtable where we say, hey, talk to me about week 1. How did you go with those habits? So what I'm trying to get at this very moment in time on this very first podcast is laying out the foundations of what we're going to be talking about. Okay, because everything that I want to talk about, I really want you to grow and prosper. But if you don't have this system built into place, sure, I can get you 10 leads. We're going to get you 10 leads in the next 10 episodes, guaranteed, if you implement. But I would be doing you a disservice because you have now hit the ceiling and now you're hating life. And now it's even harder to pull you back because now I have to tell you to take a few steps back, get rid of those clients so you can find more time to build this system. So for most people, and if you're a personal trainer that hasn't started yet, look on the bright side. You haven't built up this mesh yet where we're going to have to untangle later. So you've got a blank canvas and that's your choice to make from today. And really, I wanted to do this, and it's something just a little bit different because I love podcasts. I love them for the information. But at the end of the day, I don't find that one thing that I need to implement. And inside the Online Trainers podcast, I really want to create that one thing. So the one thing I'm leaving you with today, before we move on, before we get on to any other episodes with latest tips, strategies, tactics, who are you trying to serve? And what system do you have in place to help them get the result that they desire? What is everything that they need to know if they're going to truly make an amazing transformation? And then ask yourself, can you document that in a step-by-step system? And if you can, fantastic, we're on the right track. But I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm really excited because I've always wanted to do a podcast show. I've always said, hey, it's one of those things I want to do. But for me, this is going to be fun because I'm going to be learning, I'm going to be interviewing, I'm going to be teaching. And I really hope this brings a lot of value to you because that's what I want to do. If you haven't watched the Online Trainer Summit, I am going to bring on 5 or 6 of the interviews onto the podcast. So don't stress. They're going to be the best interviews that I thought and that were voted amongst the 10,000 personal trainers that voted for them. Okay, so really I hope you go and implement that, take action, and I'll see you in the next episode.